Hey everybody, welcome back. We're at Gettysburg 159 and we're really glad to have you here. I'm Garry Adelman. We got Evan Portman behind the camera. You're going to get to meet him in just a moment. And we are on the first day's battlefield. We're on Oak Ridge. This is Doubleday Avenue and you're generally facing west from whence the Confederates came. Let me back up. Let me remind you that we are sort of just trying to drill down to what some of the Union and Confederate regiments did here in the Battle of Gettysburg. And then we're going to even try to drill down a little further into some of the soldiers. So with that in mind, we're talking about the first day of the Battle of Gettysburg. On that first day, there's all sorts of famous fighting going off over my right shoulder that you can't see right now along the railroad cut and in Herbst or McPherson's or Reynolds Woods. And then, you know, after a lull, Robert Rhodes's division is going to show up there. 5 brigades. It goes terribly at first. There's a slaughter of North Carolina troops who approach this very position with Union soldiers positioned behind that stone wall over there, except the stone wall's even further over. Those are troops of Robinson's division. John Cleveland Robinson, the hairiest man in the Union Army, supposedly. Big guy, general, and he's got 2 brigades here. One under Baxter that's fighting on this ridge, and one under a guy named Gabriel Paul, who will really never see well again after this battle. And he and his troops are along this ridge, sort of all over the place. And we're going to unpack this a little bit, and to do this, let's bring on Evan Portman. Evan Portman's from Pittsburgh. He's an intern at the American Battlefield Trust, and I think he knows a lot about this battle. So Evan, welcome.
Thanks, Garry. It's great to be here. So as Robinson's division comes up and deploys on this ridge, Oak Ridge, the 16th Maine is one of the regiments that's going to be with them, and they're commanded by Colonel Charles Tilden. And as they're deployed along this ridge, and the first day's fighting is nearing its end and the Confederates are closing in, Robinson comes up to Tilden and he orders Tilden and his regiment to hold this point at all costs. And Tilden deploys his regiment at the apex of the Mummersburg Road and this stone wall that runs along the ridge, and he refuses his line into a V formation, so he's facing 2 different directions. And the Confederates are closing in on him, men of Ewell's Corps, and Tilden eventually decides that it's time to leave. So he gives the command to withdraw, and every man for himself. So the men of the 16th Maine are going to withdraw down this ridge, Oak Ridge, and they end up in the railroad cut, which is behind the Widow Thompson house, or what becomes Lee's headquarters. And Tilden sees that there are Confederates coming in, and they're going to be surrounded. So he orders the color sergeant and the flag bearers to rip the flags from their staff and to rip them up, and he distributes them among members of the regiment. And Tilden himself allegedly puts one in his mouth to hide it from the Confederates so that they may not capture the flag. But as the Confederates continue to bear down on them, they are going to corner Charles Tilden and demand that he surrender unless he is able to escape, which he's unfortunately not. But he puts his flag in the ground and he breaks it off in the hilt in defiance of the Confederates, and they walk him away back to Confederate prison camp, Libby Prison, which he escapes later on, and then he rejoins his regiment, the 16th Maine, and he's captured again later in the war, and then he escapes Confederate prison one more time. So it's a pretty interesting human interest story there with Colonel Charles Tilden and the 16th Maine.
Good. Evan, you want to show us the monument to the 16th Maine?
Sure. So this is the regimental monument of the 16th Maine here on Oak Ridge, and their advanced marker is going to be up towards the Oak Ridge observation tower, which isn't a full observation tower, it's the smaller one, and it's right along the Mummersburg Road, showing where the 16th Maine makes their fateful stand on July 1st, 1863.
All right, anything else to add, Evan?
No, I don't think so.
All right, grab this camera from me and let's see what I have to say. You're with the American Battlefield Trust. We're on Oak Ridge, or Doubleday Avenue, here at Gettysburg, talking about the first day. That was Evan Portman, intern at the American Battlefield Trust right now. We're talking about the 16th Maine, and Evan said a lot of things over there. First of all, that the 16th Maine is over there. They're over here. They're in the railroad cut behind the Thompson House, or now General Lee's headquarters, also preserved by the American Battlefield Trust, and they're all over the place. You see a monument, but that's not the whole story. You often need to explore a unit, a brigade, a Corps or otherwise, for all the positions they occupied at a particular engagement. I also like that story, great story, Evan, about ripping up the flag and distributing it among the men. Here on the first day's battle alone, there are 2 accounts of a different sort of flag, not going in someone's mouth, but rather being driven into soldiers' lungs during the battle by projectiles, driving them in. A guy named Callis in, I think, the 2nd Wisconsin, maybe it's the 7th, coughs up bits of his uniform and took pictures, and they're still in the Army Medical Museum. And a Confederate, North Carolinian, said he coughed up an even larger piece. So just imagine something like this. Lastly, through these woods you might be able to see a house. You can see the Doubleday Inn over there. Some of these are called inn holdings. They're owned by private individuals within parks. The American Battlefield Trust is active not only on the fringes of parks, but within them when we can. And you know, these people know that we're interested in land like that. And the owner 2 houses in actually knew about us, and we were able to secure a life estate. So not this house, but the next one in, quarter, half acre at a time. We're buying little bits of battlefields and preserving them for you, the members of the organization, and of course, all Americans, so that in 100 years we can still study these conflicts. So thanks so much for joining us on this little video. We got lots more coming. Thanks to Evan behind and in front of the camera. Thanks to the Gettysburg National Military Park for having us, and thank you all for supporting battlefield preservation and education.